every client has a different reason why they're selling, why they're buying, where they're at in their life. Some have to sell due to, finances or divorce or a baby or something like that. Others, are just kind of looking for fun and not really serious about it. So building that connection with them and making sure, they know I understand where they're at in their life is really important.
Welcome back to the CashFlow Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Yoss, and today I have a special guest. But before we get into that, I want to thank our sponsors, Rainforest Plumbing and Air. They service all of the Maricopa County, Phoenix Metro Valley. And Daniels Plumbing, they service all of San Diego County, Orange County, and Riverside County. Without our sponsors, we wouldn't be as successful. Now to my guest, Alison Fenn. Not just an amazing gal, not just an amazing mother, but a rock star realtor. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So, it's not like you've been doing this for 5 minutes. You've been a realtor for a little bit of time. How long specifically? When did you get started?
Yeah, I know. You asked me the other day, and it brought me back because I got my license in 2014, but I've been doing it more part-time. So I would say more full-time the last couple years. But yeah, I've had it for a long time.
And when you got licensed, why residential real estate? You could have done anything. You could have done commercial. You could have done strip malls. What made you attracted to residential real estate?
So I do have family that does commercial real estate. So it would have been an easier transition to get into that. But I didn't even tell anyone I was actually getting my license. I just randomly was studying for it when my son was a baby, and I took my test and called my family. And I'm like, oh, I got my license for real estate. And nobody could believe it. They were like, why? What are you planning on doing? But I just had such an interest in real estate, just the residential aspect of it, really just looking at different properties, the connection you can make with people. I saw the commercial side of it, and it was very transactional, not very personal. So I was like, I don't really think that would be a good fit for me, but maybe down the road. But for right now, I'm very happy with the residential.
You are an amazing people person, and that makes sense. Talk to me about mentorship. You were so young when you got licensed and got started. Who were you looking up to kind of get you going in the right direction?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my son's grandma was in real estate, and she was very successful, but she did everything and still does actually very, very old school. So I essentially started as her assistant, almost like a TC. I didn't even know the terminology of TC back then, but that's really what I was doing. So I really got to understand all the background, all the paperwork, everything. I would check everything for her, and she would print everything out, have files. So she was the biggest person that I looked up to because she was killing it and very busy, but doing everything, almost making it harder on herself. So I kind of jumped in and helped her with that and really enjoyed it. And then I started to get my own listing. So I would have them come, under her name, and it went really well. I learned so much from her, but I also learned ways to make it easier and taught her. I'm like, hey, there's actually a lot of different avenues that you can take to make your life easier.
Do you think that starting out so young that you were just like a sponge and could absorb everything, or was it actually harder in the beginning to get going?
I just loved learning everything, especially when it came to the rules and regulations. I was so obsessed with making sure I was doing everything perfect. Even to this day, it takes me, I would say, an hour to write an offer. I can do it super quick, but I just overlook everything a million different times because I know it's the biggest transaction of people's lives. So every paperwork I get, any document I get, I always make sure I look it over, ask questions if I need to, even till this day. So yeah, I was definitely a sponge. I took everything in. I loved it. I loved learning. I took all the classes, and even though I was still technically her assistant, I would do all the same classes as active agents were doing.
I love it. I want to just kind of shift a little bit on a personal side, because we don't hear this as much, but you're a single mom. Okay, you have a gorgeous youngster, okay, but how do you manage that work-life balance? You're a successful realtor and also a phenomenal mother. How do you find the time, or how do you set the boundaries for each of those?
Well, I'm definitely a work in progress because I do not really have a lot of boundaries when it comes to work. I always have my phone. I'm always actively available to my clients. So I think the biggest thing in retrospect, looking back, is I did go in very part-time to begin with when he was younger. I feel like when he needed me the most. That's why I've transitioned more into full-time the last couple of years now that he's in school and more independent, which makes me sad. But he doesn't need me as much as he did when he was younger. So I'm still working on that, the work-life balance, but I do feel like there's a lot of flexibility in my job as well. So if I can't accommodate a showing, I have a showing assistant now that has been helping me out a lot. So adding on that, just, asking for help when I need it because I can't do it all even though I want to has been really very, very smart in my business.
And the fact that you're right, he's now in middle school. Like, you're right, he is a little bit more independent. God, they grow so fast.
I know.
I want to call a timeout on my own children from growing. So I totally understand that. So with that idea that like, hey, work is so important and also your son, what is the philosophy that you've laid out to help your clients set them up for success? Like, what do you tell them? Like, this is why Alison is going to be the right person for you.
Well, I really try to build that personal connection with each client because every client has a different reason why they're selling, why they're buying, where they're at in their life. Some have to sell due to, finances or divorce or a baby or something like that. Others, are just kind of looking for fun and not really serious about it. So building that connection with them and making sure, they know I understand where they're at in their life is really important so they feel heard. And then I can also use that, we started looking originally because you were looking for a bigger backyard for your kids or your dog or, so that's the biggest thing is just really building that connection with each individual client and making sure that they know that I have their back because I really do. I am so big with making sure they get what they're looking for and are happy at the end of it.
Is that a part of the fact that you said earlier, like, look, I got my phone on me all the time. In fact, I don't know that I've ever seen you without your phone, like asphyxiated to your hand. Either you're texting a client or you're on the phone with a client and the only interruption is, why it's calling. So how are you able to kind of, tell them like, look, I'm here for you, but don't call me at 11 o'clock at night as well.
Well, I haven't done that yet. I know. I mean, the only time I feel like I can really comfortably do that is when it's like a friend or a family member or something that I'm working with that I can be like, hey, Wyatt has a baseball game. So if I'll still pick up, but I'm like, if it's really loud in the background, why? So
right.
I don't really have a lot of
baseball
answers to
games,
that.
house mom, or at school, on trips. Like, you are the quintessential awesome mom. You're there for all of it, and yet you're still able to be able to tell clients like, look, you call me, I will pick up, I will be able to. That's amazing.
I try.
I want to transition into some case studies. You have quite a few deals under your belt. Some of them are just awesome, absolutely amazing, and some of them are like, hey, learning lessons. Mm-hmm. Let's start with a deal you said that it was like dream come true, your best deal. Talk to me about the Coronado property.
Yeah, this one was very recent. So I'm so proud of this one for my client, mainly because she just deserves it so much. But what essentially happened was she was selling a property in Santa Cruz. So I was, working coincide with her agent up there. The property ended up sitting for a while, but she was like, we're in a very popular area. I'm really expecting it to go pretty quick. In the meantime, we were looking for a property in Coronado. So she specifically wanted a property in the Keys. It had to be one story. It had to have a boat slip. So there was a lot of boxes to check, which made my job a little bit harder. But we toured one property. She actually fell in love with it, wrote the offer literally in the car as I was leaving. She's like, I want to get this in. The offer got accepted. We were super excited. We did have a contingency in place to get her property sold in Santa Cruz. It ended up not selling, which was such a bummer. So the listing agent for the Coronado property canceled on us. He was so unreasonable. We were like blowing up his phone. He wouldn't answer my call. I was trying to ask for more time, get him in touch with the Santa Cruz agent to make sure he knew that we were doing everything we could to get her property sold. I called him from different people's phones in my office, and he would answer and like hang up. He was just not having it. He's like, nope, you can't get it sold. We're done. They actually took that Coronado property off the market. I think about 3-4 months went by, and she relisted her property in Santa Cruz, and I get a call that they just got an all cash offer with like I think it was like a 7-day escrow or something.
Nice.
So she's like, we have to find a property or else
finally
she's
sold. Like, all right, let's
yes,
go. Yeah.
like now it's go time. So we toured another property in the Keys, and she's just like, this is not it. We FaceTimed because she was still in Santa Cruz. She's like, no, I don't like it. Like, I keep comparing it to that other one. So I reached back out to that agent, and I literally was about to like give him like Wyatt. I was like, just do whatever you can. Like, you need to get this accepted. My client's going to be homeless at this point. She wants this property. What can we do? Right. He finally started engaging with me very little. I think he just sent me a text that said, send the offer. And I'm like, okay, that's something, you know? So we sent the offer, and then he randomly, I think it was his TC or assistant, messaged me back and like pretty much said, congratulations, we're opening escrow. And I was like, what?
We made it.
Yeah. So I was so happy. I told her, I was like, I'm really passive and nice, but I'll be a pit bull when it comes to this because I want to make sure you're satisfied. She's a single woman. She's older, very successful, and she really deserves it. And she's so happy. She's like invited me over on our boat since, and she's just so sweet. So yeah, I mean, it was a really happy ending.
It's amazing that you would have that level or lack of professional courtesy from another agent. Like,
oh yeah,
just the failure to communicate or respond that's just brutal.
Yeah.
Look, you're just trying to advocate for your client. They can be professional and say, look, I appreciate it, but until you have something concrete, like there's nothing we can do, we're done. But to literally not respond, it's unfortunate. On the other end, like you said, you are the nicest person in the world. And the fact that you're saying like, well, I can be a pit bull, like I love that. But your tenacity showed that you were able to get her exactly what she wanted.
Yeah. And I completely agree. I feel like the hardest part of this business is, well, number one, getting into lock boxes because they're all so different. That's like the one thing I hate when it's hot and I have like clients behind me trying to get in and it's like in weird spots. But also dealing with other agents, just some of them can just get in their own way and make things way overcomplicated. So
okay, do you think that, again, everybody always jokes, and not trying to throw shade, but they're like, real estate agents are the most ego-driven people out there. But in reality, like, do you think that the biggest issue is just, hey, a little bit of kindness and professionalism and we'll probably be fine, minus the lockbox issue?
Yes, right. Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, I had an offer that didn't get accepted yesterday, actually, and the agent pretty much called me and said because we were VA. And it was just so interesting, the conversation that I had with him. I was just so taken aback, but I feel like he was just making things so difficult. And I told him, I was like, we're easy to communicate with. We can, I'm very transparent when I run my business, but I know his perception of that was definitely a factor of why the clients didn't pick our offer. And I think the agents have such an influence on their clients, and they really do get in the way, I think, and overcomplicate it when they're really not doing what's best for their clients, unfortunately.
As a veteran with a VA loan, that agent doesn't know what they're talking about.
Oh, it made me so mad. Like, I literally, and I emailed him because I wanted to get it in writing, even though I know I would have never done anything with it. But I mean, it was really unfortunate to have to go back to my clients and say that's, he's like, public perception as VA is more difficult. And I'm like, okay,
but it's not, but
yeah,
but fair enough.
Yeah.
In that same vein, again, minus the lockbox thing, which, I don't deal with lockboxes as much in property management, but I understand, like, all the time. It's like, where is that thing in? How come it's not opening in? Yeah, or
if you don't have service, that's the worst. Like, I'm literally in the driveway, like trying to connect it to the lockbox, and my client's like trying to make small talk with them while I'm like, trying to deal with that. Yeah,
three things at once. Plus your phone is ringing. Plus,
yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Yeah, lockboxes. Somebody needs to solve that one.
I agree.
But that was an amazing deal talking about Coronado. But in that same vein, you've had some more challenging ones.
Yes.
Take me through one that there were some learning lessons on. I think we talked maybe about your La Mesa deal, your Cows Mountain.
Yes. That one, I would say I learned a lot because it was very emotional, and it was just something I never thought I would experience. I mean, people say you see it all in real estate, but this was an example of really seeing it all. My friend's a probate attorney, so he gave me this listing. I met him at the property, and he said the seller had died and they were selling it. So I even remember we were like looking through some of her stuff. He was helping me, like get familiar with the property. And we looked in the freezer and I was like, oh, that's why she died. Look at the stuff that she used to eat. It was awful. And he's like, oh no, she actually committed suicide.
Oh,
and I was just heartbroken. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I had no idea, like, just totally regretting what I had just said. I'm like, I am so sorry. Obviously he didn't know her, but the situation is horrible.
And you didn't know either, but that was a good joke until you found
out. Yeah. I was like, oh, thinking some like older, like, I don't know. Not that that's not sad either, but still. So he said, well, the issue is that they haven't cleaned up where she committed suicide in the bathroom yet. So he went outside and he's like, I mean, you can take a look around. And I think he went out to take a phone call. And I was like, I have to go look. So
I have morbid curiosity. I need to go look.
It's weird. I'm like, I watch all these like murder mystery shows. So I thought I could like handle it. So I go in the bathroom. It's like closed and it's a very, very older home. It was all dark inside and it was just kind of that like creepy vibe. So I went in the bathroom and it was not cleaned up. So the neighbors essentially had found her body in the bathtub. I don't know how in detail you want me to get with it, but yeah, it was just really, really hard. And there was a big bullet hole like through the bath and it was so sad and it was not cleaned up at all. So I knew that right away, obviously the emotional aspect, but I know, of course, who saw it, the neighbors, who talks the most in a sale is the neighbors.
Yep.
So that was going to be a big topic of conversation and a hurdle that I was going to have to get past. So we did. So long story short is we ended up hiring a company to come out and they did an estate sale. So everything was removed from the property. But I had tried to connect the seller with a company that comes out and does like a cleaning for a crime scene or like a
appropriate restoration company that handles those things.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So they work a lot, coincide with like police and, all of that.
Yep.
He said, well, I'm coming down in the next couple weeks. He's a very successful guy in Beverly Hills. And he's like, I'll just clean it up myself. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So here's another hurdle. So he cleaned it up, quote unquote. I come back for the open house and it was not completely cleaned up. So there was very minimal items left in the house. I think there was like a towel and I could use the water. So I had to like clean it up myself. I was FaceTiming with my sister and she's like, just pray, so we're like praying that the woman's at peace. And, it was just very, very traumatic. And a lot of her personal items were left behind. And I mean, personal as in Social Security cards, driver's license, her purse, there was money in it. Notes, like old pictures of her family and stuff. So all of that was left behind that nobody wanted to take. So it was really difficult.
Oh my God.
And I still like pray about her. I'm like, poor
It was
lady.
just left in your lap. And it's like, okay, Alison, the house needs to get sold, figure it out.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. And of course, the same thing happened, which I expected and I'd prepared for as the neighbors came over. And
at the open house, they all came trudging in.
Yes.
All wanted to see the bathroom.
Yes. They all go to the bathroom to look to where it happened. And there was a window boarded off because the neighbors had to bust through the window and the seller didn't want to fix that. He was like, let's just sell it as is. So it was literally like a crime scene that was, somewhat picked up, but not.
Crazy.
Yeah. It was very unexpected. I mean, I went into it thinking, oh, awesome. My friend's hooking me up with this listing in La Mesa. It's a hot community.
Nice hookup. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, thanks for warning me. And yeah. So yeah, that was definitely something I won't forget for sure.
Did it end up selling or like what was the?
Yeah, so we got a ton of investors that came through and they were lowballing it.
Right.
The sellers were like, I think it was listed at $850. They're like, we want $850. That's what we're looking for. And we got $850. And it was, I think, like a 10-day close or something, no inspections. And the people that bought it was like a renovation company. They came in and flipped it. And then it sat for a really long time when they relisted it. And I think it recently sold not that long ago, but it was a process.
Was part of the relisting and working with those type of investors, was part of it them asking you to also be involved on the back end as well?
Yeah, so they said that we would get the relist once they remodeled it and got it all fixed up. We did relist it, or I relisted it. I think it was for like 1% or something, just to put it out there.
Right.
And it sat for a while because it was significantly overpriced. I think I brought them one or two offers that were very close to where they wanted, but they just would not. I mean, we only communicated through email too, which was so difficult because I'm like, I just want to get on the phone with you, let you know. Obviously, I'm seeing the market firsthand where we're at. This is a good offer. Take it.
Right.
I mean, even the buyer's agent was sending me comps to be like, hello, this is fair. And I'm like, trust me, I know, but I didn't want to talk, bad about the seller.
No, right.
So we ended up, quote unquote, I guess, getting fired. And when I say we, it was me and my team lead that were kind of doing it together.
Sure.
And yeah, we stepped away from it, and then they relisted it themselves, and it sat for so long. And I kept an eye on it. I was like, I'm so curious to see. And they ended up accepting an offer. I think it was about like $200,000 less than what we brought them.
And it just shows, especially all your time, energy, and effort, and knowing the property and the market, that they still wouldn't listen. And at the end of the day, it just sat.
Right. And of course, you have to disclose that there was a suicide on the property. I mean,
right.
That was another hurdle to get through. It's not just, I show properties all the time where it's natural death on property, and some religions and, certain people really are sensitive to that.
Say no, yeah.
Yeah. But then to know that it's not just a natural death, something really traumatic happened, I think that was another
religion,
layer.
No religion. Like, I don't think, me personally, I don't think that I want to necessarily purchase a property where somebody committed suicide. Again, this is just my own personal opinion, not a religion. I've seen too many movies.
Yeah.
That's why.
I know.
It's in my head. Now, that being said, like, the property that I purchased for myself or my family live in, like, natural death occurred. Like,
right.
They actually, both the husband and then the wife, that was their main home for like 40 years. And I was happy that we were able to get it and take it over and keep it like a family home, and my kids are being raised in there. So, but yeah, it's a different thing trying to sell something with that kind of trauma.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it either. And I take a lot of baths, so I'm like, I don't think I could like go in, even if they like removed the whole bath and fixed it. I'm like, in my head, I would think about it way too much. So.
Is that probably the most traumatic? I mean, it would be for me. Is that probably the most traumatic thing that you've dealt with in your 10 plus years in real estate?
Yes, I would definitely say it really was, just seeing it firsthand. I mean, hearing about it is one thing, but actually seeing it and being there and like feeling very connected to her, because I did see all of her stuff, and I am super nosy, so I was looking through everything because it was like she had all of her stuff there and no one was claiming it. And while they were, figuring out what to do with the estate sale, I'm like looking, and I felt, okay, I know she goes to Costco every single Tuesday at this time. I had really figured out her schedule, and I mean, it just broke my heart. It was so sad. Yeah.
Do you find that, with the way real estate is changing, like, do you find that things like this, these crazy reality TV scenarios are coming up more and more? Like, what are the biggest challenges that you're facing right now in the industry as a whole? Besides lockboxes.
Yeah, right. Seriously. No, I know that's like a trigger for me. I would definitely say right now, it's just the way the market is. A lot of my listings are sitting, especially, I've been setting expectations for my sellers, but we're like in hotter markets and Poway and areas that I expect them to go a lot quicker, and we're not getting a lot of showings, and they're sitting a lot longer. So having to just be very honest with my sellers and not just tell them what they want to hear, because obviously it's easy to say, you're in a hot area, it's before school starting, the best school district, let's get it sold, what price do you want, we can do that. I have to be very transparent and honest and say, this is where the market is right now. We can't dictate it. It's what buyers are willing to buy. And because of interest rates and just a lot of different factors, it's been slower for my listings, and that's hard for me.
Do you do a lot of like hand holding in the process? Like, there's a lot of emotions when you're going through, or are people a little more bottom line, like, well, the numbers are the numbers? What do you see more?
I tend to attract people that are more emotional. Surprise. I actually use like my system is called Follow Up Boss, so I can track my phone calls. And I mean, it shows, I think we have like 30 people on our team, and I'm always the one that is on the phone the most, because I mean, my clients will call me and it will be a simple conversation, and then they'll start like, tearing up about
full connection,
why they want to sell and why they have to net this amount and stuff. And I think, I open that door, so I can't be surprised that, they feel that like connection with me, even when sometimes I'm like putting it on mute and like screaming at Wyatt to like shut up in the other room. But
this is a superpower. You do know that, right? Being able to connect and open up with people is such a superpower. I see a lot of people just like, they don't care. They just, well, here's the numbers and deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I sold, it was a mom and her daughter, they sold their manufactured home, and I think I made like $1,000 on it. But I mean, even till this day, we talk. They moved to Texas, and I told them when I was just in Dallas, I'm like, hey, how are you guys? And it was just the connection. I haven't gotten any referrals from it or anything yet, but they gave me the sweetest closing gift. I mean, the sweetest. I still have it, like all this stuff, this huge box, you know, and so it's just like the connection that I had with them. And I value that so much because even if it's a cheaper property, it's still the biggest transaction of their lives.
Sure. Well, to talk about that too, you said like, hey, you didn't even make a ton of money. You were able to help them and the connection you made. Like, do you find that, like the commission is a hurdle for you? Like, you know, if you got to give away some dollars to make a deal happen, like you're like, I don't care. I just want to make people, you know, feel like they got the best transaction, the best situation.
Yeah. So I literally get made fun of this for so many reasons because people will ask me, how much are you going to get? Or what's your commission? Or what's that? I do not track that. I'm terrible with numbers. I mean, you probably know that. When I get it paid, when I literally get it wired into my account, I'm like, oh, like I don't even keep track of that, which I know is not good. And I need a financial advisor because I'm probably losing a lot. But I throw money at anything and everything that I can, which is a personal thing that I'm really working on. But I mean, even we got an offer on one of my listings right now, and the buyer's agent will not go up, and she's buying it for a family member, so she's saying 0 commission. Yeah. And I was like, well, what if I give you 1% of my commission? And I'm like, I just had this convemission with myself that I wasn't going to do this anymore, right. And I'm doing it like literally the next day.
Just trying to help a deal come together.
Yes, like I'm not a person to just get a listing signed and put it on the market. Like if I have to see it through, or else it will literally give me the worst anxiety. And I'm like, even if I get paid like $20, I will do it at that point.
You're not the only realtor, loan officer, or anybody struggles with everybody on a regular basis. I hear is like, look, if I have to give a couple nickels to make my client get the property of their dreams or be able to sell and move on to the next chapter of their life, they will do it, and they will do it without hesitation. So I definitely don't think it's something that's a negative. Sure, we all might give away too much, but at the end of the day, we want our clients to be happy. So
yeah,
I'm glad to hear someone actually say, yeah, I do it. Yeah. Instead of going like, oh, I would never. Like, yeah, you would. And in fact, we know you do it all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Final question as we wrap up here, Alison. Okay. Lasting piece of advice. If you could get in the time machine in the DeLorean and go back and talk to baby Alison when you were first breaking in the market, what advice would you give to your younger self?
So I would definitely say to be patient because I think I was exactly where I needed to be at that time. I think I look back and I'm like, man, if I was, winning it full time at that time, I would be so much more successful now than I am. But I think it was such a good transition of while my son was young because that is my first priority. So I think if I could go back, I would just tell myself to just chill out, be patient, trust the process, and know that everything's happening for a reason. And with that, I think the success will come, and it might be later than I wanted, but it's still happening. So,
well, you're successful now, and it's absolutely amazing to hear someone say, just be patient. It's all going to work out. And for you, obviously, the success, it has been working out. So congratulations to you on that. And your gorgeous son, you're just a beautiful boy, Wyatt. It's great to see you show off the pictures of him playing baseball and doing all those things.
Yes.
So that is awesome. Everybody, Alison Fenn, real estate expert in San Diego County. Thanks so much for being with us today. For everybody else, thanks for tuning into the CashFlow Podcast. We'll see you next week.